Hello, everybody. Interesting times we're living in. Very interesting times. I would like to thank whoever chooses to tune in onto this channel, this platform, and chooses to just listen to what we have to say. Like I said before, this platform is about really giving people an opportunity to just talk about random things that's happening, talk about just life in general. A lot of people, or some people have asked, I know a lot of people's rooting for me. Thank you for that. And I just want to make a point that this platform, that's a lot of people that know me will know that I know going with the flow is more of like, I don't know, but I'm that kind of a person. So I know I got a lot of advice from people, and thank you so much for that. I mean, there's people that would give advice from different angles. Some people would give advice from really love and because they're really rooting for me and what I'm trying to do. And some people will really give advice from a very judgmental position. So the one that's very judgmental, I would say, wrong platform, because I mean, just the platform alone screams what we're all about. We're a scholar of life, meaning that we don't have it all figured out. There are certain things that we might do incorrectly in your view. There's so many advice that I got. For example, somebody said to me, because I thought in my vision that I'm only going to interview the person and I will ask questions from behind the camera. And I've had a few people say, Happy, why don't you be in the interview? And I thought, you know what? It's not about me. It's about giving that individual a platform. But then I thought, you see, so that's kind of, I took that advice. So I am in the space with the individual. So it's, please do share your advices. And again, this whole thing about please subscribe and like, I get it. And I understand that. If a lot of people tuned into this, that's great. But what I'm really trying to do on this platform is, I think we get carried away with numbers a lot, right? The whole idea was to really, it's about light, a lot of light. So when you leave this platform, you feel like, oh, you know what? I'm not the only one that's going through whatever it is that one goes through in this world. It makes you going away feeling to be better and do better. Just positive vibrations, So yeah, anyway, I hope I made my points across. There'll be more points that I'd like to make across. Getting back to who we have here, my darling husband. I'm very excited. Thank you so much. I wonder how patient was he, shame. Sometimes when I talk, I have such an amazing husband. I wonder what my husband was thinking as I was saying all of those things. What were you thinking?
I was thinking when we started this, I didn't know what the response would be like online. The obvious thing would be, you always wonder, you want the numbers, is it going to go out there? And as the time went on, you look at that and then you kind of think like, okay, is the numbers good enough? Are we going where we want to go? And then later I realized it wasn't about the numbers. Very quickly I realized it was about what we had achieved with the people who were on the show. And I realized that even if this platform only reached out between you and the individual who's talking to you, that was good enough. It made people feel good to just, to share whatever they had on their minds. And it didn't need to reach out to 1 million of subscribers and viewers.
I like what you said. I'm sorry to interrupt. So usually we wanted to reach out there. And I wasn't even thinking about it that way. So if it can reach out both ways. So whoever is is part of the interview.
I saw that whoever was part of the interview, it had an effect on them, a positive effect. They felt better about whatever they had shared with you, or whatever questions were asked. They felt good after the interviews. And I thought, like, even if that's just the only person that benefits from what you have done, then it's good enough. And then I stopped looking at the numbers. I stopped caring about the social media and all that part of it.
Guys, that's what it's all about here, you know. That's what it's all about. Anyway, I'm still going to touch base on this on our next talk. Guys, it's happening, hey? It's happening. Okay. Okay, so thank you, my husband. Thank you so much, because so many people wanted him back. So many people. Can you guys hear that sound? That's my dog drinking water. Shh. We live. But anyway, so many people wanted my husband back, right? So thank you for making time. Okay, and I also would like to thank my friends who sent the questions when I asked for the questions. So what I did is I chose my dear friends who's always supported me and encouraged me to ask us random questions. So we have not read any of these questions, so I might not even be able to articulate them properly or even answer them properly. So so let us see. I'm very excited. And you know what's cool about this whole thing is because my husband really is not much of a talker. This is also a platform where I feel like that when these questions are asked and I hear my husband answer them, and I'm like, nice. Oh my gosh, no wonder I married you, you know. So I'm very excited, and I'm glad that you guys can all join in, right? Okay, so here goes the questions. Oh, but the person didn't, this particular person didn't say to who does the question go to. So I guess it's going to go to, I guess it's going to go to the both of us. But thank you, sweetheart, for all your questions, okay? So question number 1. How is it living with someone who doesn't understand your faith? How is it living with someone? It's okay. It's my dog. It's okay, Tinky can be part of it. How is it living with someone who doesn't understand your faith in God? That's a very good question. Thank you. How is it living with someone who doesn't understand your faith in God? Very good question. Thank you. You want to answer that?
Oh, no, but I think it's more to...
No. It's all our questions, baby. It's both ours. And I think you'll have an amazing answer. You see, that's again, assumptions, you know? So, how is it living with someone who doesn't understand your faith in God? And a lot of people are in this particular circumstance. Just speak your truth.
I think, first of all, everyone's understanding of God's... What's the question again?
How did you not have coffee, baby? Did you not have coffee? Did you not drink your coffee? I don't drink coffee. I drink water. I didn't have my water. So, brain, come, work with us. How is it that living with someone who doesn't understand your faith in God?
So each individual's faith in God may be a different understanding. So it's very difficult to align, different people. However, if you are with someone who doesn't fully understand, this question almost is like asking out of experience, as though, like we've lived with people who don't have faith. So instead of maybe saying what's it like to live with someone, maybe we can say what is it like to be or to be around people, associate with people who may not share the same faith in God as you. And maybe that's a better way. I think
that's what they wanted to say.
A better way to look at it. And if these people are around you and they're close to you, and let's say spiritually you are growing and you feel like you are growing faster than those that are around you, and that you are getting to a place where, or like maybe you two don't see each other well, then it can always obviously be a problem. But if your faith is real and pure, then surely it should participate, or go through to the other person as well, and try and, they will see it through your eyes, if I can put it that way. But sometimes it's difficult because not everybody has the same truths, not everybody have the same understanding of the spiritual world and all that stuff. So I think it's important not to judge, and it's important just to stay real. And if you're real and you're strong and you don't impose or force it on anybody, then that way it will be easier for the other person to interact with it and to understand it and to be a part of it. That's what I would say.
That's a very good answer. It's a very good question, and it can be broken down, and it's a very sensitive question as well, and it can be broken down in many spectrums. And I'm going to bring it back home because I can only tell from my truth. Obviously we grew up together, and I'm just going to be honest with you. People that become one and fall into one relationship, if you don't try and ask questions, people love research. I think we should do more research in a human being, like we do on social media. Do as much research as you can about a person, because you're talking about two different people with different backgrounds coming into one space. And I'm telling you, spiritually, if you do not agree, because there are principles, there are morals, there are certain things that goes hand in hand with your spirituality and your belief system. And if you don't speak the same language, there's going to be a lot of difficulties. I know we use the word equally yoked a lot. So to bring it back home, my husband comes from a background, and I want you to touch on that. He's from Russia. So I think a lot of black people, two places. It's either you're from a lot of traditional culture background, or you from, you went to church on Sunday. Your mom forced you to go to church on Sunday. I'm from a very spiritual background where from the time that I was small, again, it was different types of religion, Catholic. I went to a Catholic school. I went to an Islamic school where I went to madrasa. So I went to, spiritually, I was put into a lot of places, but my realization with God, and I've said this to so many people, that the minute you have a relationship with God, the minute you have an encounter with God, it separates religion versus relationship. So going back to your question, I would say that it was very difficult because, again, when my mind was in that religious space, in my home, I would find it difficult because my husband believes in a certain way. But then again, there's a lot of people that think, and I'm going to take it back to religion. You see, I get very frustrated when people confuse this amazing God, this powerful, amazing God with religion, because religion has so many boundaries and just, I would say, damage control, that it can be blamed on God, which has got nothing to do with God, because I'm a living proof of God's encounter. So in the beginning, I would know that we are having tension in the home because our belief system is different, where I would want to pray with the children at the dinner table, and for my husband, that was not a thing that he did, where I would go to church, which means I had to go to church with the children, and he would either stay home. And then I think the beauty about us is that I never forced anything on him, and he allowed me to be. And I promise you, a lot of religious, judgmental people will look at him and say that he's not a believer. But if you knew his heart, and I know him, he's more of a believer than what the eye sees. It's deep, guys. It's very deep. But anyway, can you just give a bit of your background? So I love the fact that how he just let me be. There were difficult moments where we didn't see, but he grew himself. There was times when it's time for us to read the word. You know, he'd read the word with us. He prays. When he prays, he blows my mind. He prays better than me that quotes scripture. Now you tell me. His communication with God is on another level. You wouldn't say that. But someone on the outside would have so much to judge about. So I don't know if you get me. But also, so I'm very proud of you, baby. I'm very, very proud of you. And it makes sense why we're together, you know. Because you might think you're not putting an effect on me, but I see more God in you than anything else, you know. But also with your background, you know, just give
I think what's important to add on to that question is it's important that you rather don't allow the outside to help you or to influence your judgment on this individual or the people that are in question onto your faith. So if you have a certain view and the person in question has a different view, don't allow the other people's views to influence your view on this person. I think it's got to be very, just let it be and allow it to grow on its own organically, not forcefully. If you force things, they will resist. And I mean, at the end of the day, you know, depending what the goals are, how close are you with that individual, what is your outcome sort of meant to be, and then you allow that to grow, but don't let the outside world to set an example of what that should be like, and then you're trying to match it. Let your heart do the speaking and your judgment on this, you know, question. As far as my background's concerned, you know, growing up in communist Russia, we didn't have like church. Well, we had obviously churches, but it wasn't like number one was the government. It wasn't the church, so it was very weird. Because from Russia, we went to Israel. So from like a country that's politically driven and government driven, we go to like a place that's completely over the top religious, where they're praying with all these things around them every morning with the things, and we had to kind of conform to that. So it was a bit of a culture shock for me. But we were not there for very long. We were there for a year, and then we came to South Africa. And South Africa, obviously in the 90s, and was quite religious. So going to primary school and starting the morning with a prayer, thanking God for rain and whatever. And then come break time, they would come and obviously, you know, isolate and sideline the different kids. For me, it was a big conflict of understanding. So where's the religion lying with, you know, being kind and understanding? And that's where very quickly for me it became an anti sort of, you know, I wouldn't want to be a part of it in any way, because I associated that with those people that sidelined me together with the teachers and the whole system. And then growing up, you become very negative towards the system and all of it. And I remember when we grew up, we grew up in an amazing place full of different kind of people, cultures and different personalities, and people would become newborn. And it would always for me be like, oh, there's another fallen one, because I felt like we've lost this person. Because when people became Christian reborn, they cut everything up, they throw the CDs, burn all their clothes, whatever, and they become radically converted. And I saw people did that, and I felt like, okay, well, that person's gone. Because for me, I always felt like it was a go-to place for weaker people that couldn't handle life. So when life got too much, you fell into that, and then that would allow you to somehow justify and grow, you know, get through your pains. But growing up, going deeper, and just trying to understand, and you just need to sort of develop that understanding with the spiritual world. You got to understand that this isn't everything. And once you realize that, once you understand that there's higher, you know, powers, higher, you know, understandings with what and how this is influenced by that, you know, then you're able to be more spiritual and be more open to, you know, the various, to God and all of it, you know. And as far as church is concerned, I never wanted to be, you know, we went to church a few times, and for me, again, it's, you know, I feel like a lot of people use church and religion as a ticket, as a passport to just, you know, to go there. Oh, now I've checked that out. I've been cleaned up. Now I can go ahead and do whatever I want. And because I have that passport, I live in this, you know, level of above everybody, and therefore I'm better than all of the people. So it's very difficult, and especially It's important not to confuse people with church and God. There's like three different entities. Number one, humans. Number two, church as an entity, and number three, God, or rather one God, then church, then three is people. And between those three, it's you need to just have your lines clear. Otherwise, it will be very confusing.
Sure. You broke it down. But I think also from what I've gathered from my husband is that, I mean, when he gave that example about in primary school, you know, then obviously people would then pray in the morning. I mean, he's from a different communist country, and then he sees these people praying in the morning, thanking God for the rain, and then during break, you know, the same people that was praying to God, their characters is not the same as what they were praying to God about. And that's where I become very sensitive about this, because then people then put you in a box. And I'm saying to a lot of believers, you have to be very transparent. You have to be very transparent with God, because by you being not being transparent, you are confusing people that really, really believe that want to seek this God. That want to seek this God, because you are so caught up in your I mean, but what I'm hearing from you is that you actually got hurt by people, not God, but people using the name of God. So I think that's where we need to change. That's where we need to change and just be really transparent, really, because what's that said? Whatever is dark will always come out, light always come out of it. So whatever you do, you know, God always exposes, will always expose. So be transparent in your walk with God. Thank you. That was really cool. That was really, really cool. Okay, so next question. Oh, listen, that was a very good question. We can go on and on and on about it, but for today, I think this is as much as we broke it down. What are the challenges you face as a married couple? What are the challenges you face? I like your questions. What are the challenges you face as a married couple?
You can start with
No,
that
you
one. I
start,
did the
baby.
previous one.
No, baby, you start. I'm being submissive.
No, then if you're submissive, then start.
You just wanna go around what I'm saying. Okay, so what are the challenges? Darling, there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of challenges. A lot in marriage. It's a lot. So obviously growing up, especially for women, you know, you want to get married and have children, the picket fence and everything like that. But from someone that had a background like mine, where I was a rebellious kid by nature, it's just that's just how it was. I was naughty, but in relationships, I tend to have relationships that lasted longer. So I always knew that I was going to get married, right? And that's what I think a lot of women do, is that we visualize this marriage, right? And then once we're in it, you know, especially me, you kind of say, oh my word, I know myself, you know. I used to be this kind of an individual, and I did a lot of things that one shouldn't do, and then suddenly your belief system in God has changed, right? You believe in God, and I say there are principles, there are certain things that you need to follow that's aligned with your belief system. And from someone that was a menace to society, I had to now become a woman that's going to keep my word. So I think just trying to be a wife, dividing that person that I used to be, brought a lot of challenges, because I am masculine, because I've said this before, I have a lot of brothers. I only have one sister and the rest are boys. I grew up, I mean, he used to be my best friend growing up. We were best friends. So I've always been masculine. and that's what I came into this marriage with because I also had a father that's very had authority, was strong, and I think I carried that a lot into my marriage, and that was not a good thing. So I had to learn to just, and I'm still learning to just, people always assume that it's our culture difference, like that the fact that he's white or black. No, it's way beyond that. It's just that it's a lot of me having to work a lot. So the challenges that I can say on my side is definitely just being in touch with who I am as a woman, and not having to be so what's the word? I mean, he'll describe it better, because not having to be so defensive all the time. Yeah, I mean, I had a big problem with anger and aggression, and I brought a lot of that into my marriage, but he knew about that because we grew up together. Also that, so I think marriage, the minute you can look into the mirror instead of looking at the person that you're with and saying, you need to change that about you, you need to change that about you. And I always thought with my husband, I was like, oh my gosh, like if you could only change that about him, change about him. I mean, look at me, I'm a Christian, and I'm trying so hard, and he's not trying, he's just, and I was like, hold on. I mean, again, God is so wonderful. So the worldly, fleshly happy was like, I'm trying, you're not trying. And God said, you know what? You're not trying. That's how beautiful God is. God's like, excuse me, the problem is not your husband. You need to look at yourself deeper. And the more you can just bring yourself down and just carry yourself the way I've taught you to carry yourself, because I've seen my mother, and I've seen how my mother's treated my father, and I have that in me. The minute God told me to humble myself and not look at what he's doing wrong, that's when he's going to see the God in you. So I think it's the challenges is looking at ourselves than looking at the person next to you. Because the minute you fix yourself, I think you can't go wrong, because you can say, you know what, I've done my part. I've done my part. So, am I raving on and on? I think you can you can jump on the train.
I think obviously the list of challenges is big, just like any marriage. It can go on, and much like what the wife has said, it's really not about like the challenges themselves. It's typical to think that perhaps with us they're unique because of the racial difference, but that's really, like she says, is the last thing that we actually battle with. There is no battle there, to be honest. In no cultural difference any of that. We both grew up in chaos. We met in chaos, and we saw something when we were we were friends for the longest before we even got involved. But the main thing is like she says, and it's difficult, is not to look on the other side, but look at yourself first, and just evaluate, not blame everything on the other person. And remember, everybody carries different weight. My weight and their weight is not the same density. My weight might be one way and hers, and I look at her weight compared to my weight, and it's not the same. And it's very important to be objective and just to understand where the people are coming from, what are the challenges. And yeah, it's to sit through the whole list one point at a time, I think it makes no sense. I think the challenges are really universal in most marriages. It's really about the way you go handling those challenges. And I think you said it best. It's just to look at yourself before you look at the other person.
What are the challenges with me so far? Pick one. It's fine. Just expose me. My daughter's laughing.
I still think probably for me it would still be the anger is one of the tougher ones, where the threshold is quite low, and the quick, sort of the impulsive, quick, angry response to certain things. That would be for me probably the biggest thing, which has been tamed in many ways, but I still feel like that's the one point. If you had to ask me what would be the one point where we can make an adjustment, that would be the one point where I would say like the anger and just the outrage, that if that could be tamed to like the lowest level, all the other things I don't care about. That would be the most important part for me, because the anger and the outrage has a long-lasting effect, and it just kind of, again, goes through many levels. It doesn't just stay in the air. It just lingers. It lingers. It doesn't like just fade out, and that for me would be the one part.
Thank you, baby. Don't judge me, guys. Moses was also an angry guy. He hit that rock from anger. No, but seriously, guys, if you know any advice, comment there. How to, God has been a big part, and like it's been worse. I mean, there's been worse scenarios where this anger would, but it's getting better and better. And I know that had I not had God, and that's why, guys, you see why I love God so much, because you don't know who this person is, and God has been really, really, really good to me by healing me, and that's why I need him at all time. I need God at all times. So if you have advice about anger management, what put down on comments, okay? So I think this is going to be the last questions. There's still a lot more. My other beautiful sisters, my friends, we are going, meaning that my husband's going to have to come back, because there's a lot of other questions and we're not going to not answer them. The next we'll get to it, okay? The next what, baby? So much video, okay. Okay, lastly, what have you learned as a Christian being with a man who doesn't believe in God the way you do? But that was the first question, isn't it? Wait, what have you learned as a Christian being with a man who doesn't believe in God the way you do? Yeah, guys, God. Sometimes I look at who God is, who you cannot even describe the greatness of God. And even the ones that have the most wisdom and intellect, sometimes we can be so naive in our thinking. I'm telling you, because whatever the eye sees, God sees it differently. So in the meantime, while we could be thinking that you're living with somebody, and it shows, all of it shows that this guy, this person is a non-believer. And that's why I cannot defend God. I can't, because God is God. But sometimes I can sit in my corner and I can be like, God, these people have got you figured out the wrong way. They really do. Because of people and their mindset, they have confused God of his mercy and grace. So I would say, personally, I'm not the one to judge. What I would do is go on those knees and pray. Pray for that person. There's a lot of people that wronged me in my life. And I could have easily had that hatred in my heart. And I've learned to pray for them. So I think people, again, would look at myself and my husband, and because I speak so highly of God and of my faith, and my family's also done this. Some of my family, they also think that because I speak of God, they put me in that box of religion, and I get so angry with them, and it's very hard for me to explain that I'm not into that religious box. I'm into that relationship. You know where God has brought me from. So I am into that God that's loved me. So I think, again, a lot of people would think, maybe my husband's not a believer or whatever, or maybe the partner that you're with is not a believer. And yes, the proof is in the pudding. You can see these people don't believe. I would say don't be with them if you don't have time to pray for this person. If you don't have time to, if you feel like you are, you're speaking and you're not equally yoked, it's not going to work. There's going to be a lot of clashes. But if you believe in God's mercy and grace, whether you pray for them from afar or wherever, just keep praying for them. But also always point the finger back at you. Always point the finger back at you. And I think God is not a God of confusion. God will show you directly what you need to do. The Holy Spirit will guide you as to what you need to do. What would you say?
This question is obviously directed at us in some way, where,
or maybe not, baby.
An assumption is made.
Let's not make it personal.
But here, let me tell you then from the other side. If you're saying that here's the overly spiritual Christian person, and here's the unbeliever or whatever. So from this side of the fence, I would tell you, the more you lay it thick, the harder you come at that person, the more the person is going to pull away. That's all I'm going to say. So if you're going to come with your, with all the forcing, the more you force, the more this person will withdraw. You got to leave that individual to grow with their own time, their own space.
Yeah.
If and if you have the patience and the love for them to meet them halfway somewhere, then it will happen. And if you don't, then what it will be like? It will be very miserable. It will be very miserable to be with somebody who doesn't want to believe in what you believe, and you're forcing them to believe what they don't want to believe.
Yeah.
It really depends on the level of love you have for this individual and where you want it to go. If it's just a friend or whatever, fine. But if it's a partner you're looking at to spend the rest of your life with, you got to think very quick. Is that somebody you want to have children with? Is that somebody you want to grow old with? Because now it's okay, 5-10 years down the line, how's it going to be? Because it could go south very quickly and you both can be very miserable. So how important is it to you to convert this person to your level of belief? Because if it's very important and you're never going to reach that space, cut the ties now and walk away before it's too late, and go, and if that's your level of criteria for choosing the person you want to be with. That's what I would say.
Oh, I can listen to you forever, my love. But you must talk to me also like this off camera, man. My husband's incredible. But listen, also in closing now, we're really closing. Just getting back to what you said. And I guess we're not God. We're not God. I look at my life now and I still pinch myself. I think also with my husband, he didn't believe in marriage. Like, he was not a person all about marriage, right? Children, when we were growing up, that was the last thing that he had. Like, it was not in his radar. I've said this before again. And even just his faith, my husband's just, he's just simple guy, And when we got married, that's why I want to give all the power to God, that God can change a person's heart. Like, had I forced my husband and said, you need to marry me because I can't, because spiritually, morally, this, blah, blah, blah. I think, again, because of I needed to be patient, the fact that my husband married me, that is God. That is God looking at my heart and his heart. The fact that my husband can, when something's happening in the home, he will say, not me. My husband, the people have him figured out. However, even me, I mean, if I tell people, I don't do this, I don't do that, they get shocked. Like, I don't know, guys. I don't know. That's just the human mind. We used to that, okay? But, I mean, even just the fact of how we know each other, people, and we don't blame people that they get so intrigued about where'd you meet her and whatever, but it's just how people have perceptions of one. So, I mean, the fact that my husband married me, that's the love of God. He looks at the heart. God looks at the heart. The fact that my husband would say this beautiful prayer, he would say, my wife, can we pray for our children? Oh, when I'm having my moments, the Christian's having her moment, he will hold me by the hand and say the most beautiful, purest prayer. Now you tell me. Now you tell me. So I think the best thing, especially in these trying times, do you want to say anything, baby? Like just positive vibes, especially with what's going on now to people.
I just think that stay away from social media, stay away from internet. Don't the internet, and it's like a rabbit hole. They'll have anything you believe in, you'll find it. So if you want to believe into something, you will find somebody else in the world that will also believe. So just be careful whether you're looking for convictions, or you're looking for research, or you're looking for, to find some truth. What are you looking for, and where are you looking for it, and how are you looking for it? Because there's so many sources at the moment. It's like you can find anything you want anywhere out there. It's like an echo chamber at the moment, the whole world. Whatever you believe, somebody out there will be believing the same thing, and it will just take you to the next level. So rather look inside you, look in your heart. Don't go look on Google, but rather sit and pray and do what you need to do. Just look inside yourself rather than on the outside for the answers. Look within yourself, not within the world. And I don't know, that was it.
Beautiful. Thank you, my love. May God bless you beyond human understanding. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I leached on you. Like we've known each other over 20 something years. And it doesn't matter, we had, we'll be in and out, and we always came back to one another. And my husband's like, I always make this joke with my husband, they're like, you can run, but you can't hide, because I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. I had to, because there's quality, there's pureness, and God bless you, my love. You're an amazing father. You're an incredible... He's a lyricist. You must read some of his lyrics. It's on another level. I mean, he used to produce music, but now I didn't even know that my husband writes. And I was blown away. I mean, I've been around a lot of MCs. I've read a lot of, a lot, but he's incredible. Anyway, so I'm blessed. Thank you. I love you so much. Guys, be kind to one another. You have to be kind to one another. Just be kind. And keep me in your prayers. We want that anger management out. Kick it out, right? Take care, people. Take care. Believe in yourselves. Let us be kind to one another. I know we can be uptight out there. I mean, just the other day, I was so mad that this guy drove. Again, I was, happy. Those thug life is over. You don't have to be that person. So my husband is right about the anger. Keep me in your prayers and stay kind. Love you. Peace and light.